What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight we are going to cover a whole lot in a short amount of time, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about the bridge that just appeared out of nowhere into Chernobyl. Of course, a new entrance to Ukraine, so that might mean something. And then, of course, we'll talk about everything we just went over on Marfoogle News. An ambassador was just kicked out of Russia. Everything is going to be right here, so stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. This is a live show, so remember, you can call in tonight at 224-400-MARF. That number will be scrolling across very shortly on the black line below me. Remember, we have a ton here, so make sure to use our website as a reference. We make sure, if we do a video covering any kind of story, that we make a bibliography of all of our sources. So if we show you a video, a tweet, a picture, an article, an archived document, it is all going to be available to you right away over at Marfoogle News. Now, when you go, it's very easy to navigate. It is all done by thumbnail, so you will look for Building Bridges, Bridge to Ukraine, and then once you do that, you will click on it, and it will say, this just appeared, and then underneath, you will see all of the links of every single story. That way you know exactly where our information is from. Now, if it is an opinion, I make sure to clarify as much as I can. If I miss it, I apologize, but most of the time, I let you guys know if something is my personal opinion, someone else's opinion, or if it is fact. Now, once you hit a yellow bar here, that is kind of a warning. That is the web-only content. That is all of the stuff that is too hot for TV, that is far to one direction to the point where we cannot cover it and stay neutral. We try to be as neutral as possible. Everyone is welcome here. Again, you know, there's, of course, reasonable limits to that as well. Again, thank you, everybody that has popped in already. If you do want to support us, we're independent. We basically, it's myself, Dex, and then a volunteer group of mods, which, again, please make sure to thank them. They have to deal with all of the crud down there. And if you do want to support us, you can go over to the right side. There are boxes over there. Those are affiliate links. When you do purchase from any of those, you end up helping the show and, in most cases, get a discount at the same time. You can get Nord. You can get an Emp Shield that is the same company that is now protecting government agencies. Again, you can also go over and get My Patriot Supply has a ton of stuff as far as prep goes. All of that and most of that is at a discount. Now, also remember, that this is a live show, so anything can happen. I appreciate everybody that has popped in. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is happening, and how are you doing tonight?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
A big thank you to Ron Williams, Misty Rickman, Speed Rush, Truth Seeker, and Dave Nelson. Thank you guys for subscribing in the last few minutes here. And then also, thank you, looks like right before the show, Lori G, thank you for going over to PayPal and supporting, says thanks for all you do. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you, Lori G. Over the last night, Claire L, Davis D, Tracy Q, and Linda S, thank you so much for your support. Dawn B, again, thank you, everybody that goes over and supports us that way. that is probably the most direct way to support, so we really do appreciate. All right, and then getting right into it, scientists develop laser-guided system that could send a spacecraft to Mars in 45 days. Mars in just 45 days. Scientists develop laser-guided system that could dramatically cut the time it takes to reach the red planet. NASA predicts it would take about 500 days for humans to reach the red planet, but of course, Canadian engineers say a laser-based system could cut that journey to just 45 days. The U.S. Space Agency is planning to send a crew to the red planet in the middle of the 2030s. Around the same time, China also plans to land humans on Mars. Engineers from McGill University in Montreal, Canada, say that they have developed a laser thermal propulsion system where lasers are used to heat hydrogen fuel. It is directed energy propulsion using large lasers fired from Earth to deliver power to a photovoltaic arrays on a spacecraft that generate electricity and in turn thrust. So a few things here. Most of you know my opinions on some of this as far as what is happening up there. We created Space Force. We have all of these odd missions. We're essentially creating Noah's Arks. All of the different countries are preparing for an event that nobody sees, like, putting seeds and DNA for species down in the depths of extreme vaults, like a Noah's Ark of sorts. In fact, they are also sending, and by they, world governments have gathered and gotten together, I think it was like 6.2 million DNA samples of different species, and they're sending that to the moon. Why? Why are we creating Noah's Arks? Why are the elites all investing in rocket technology and trying to get to Mars? And again, it's kind of telling here that they show that China and the U.S., of course, they have their separate kind of missions, but everybody is trying to get to Mars or to go to space. China is creating a miles-long structure in space in the next few years, or at least that's what they say. Now, remember, I believe that, everybody has a voice here as far as probably the only thing we don't allow is Satanists in our chat here. But I believe that, if you believe the planet is a certain shape, then that's up to you. Again, I prefer to cover pretty much everything because I think that there are little messages hidden right in front of our face. As far as with this, it is just more. It's just been pushing us for the last 10 years. I think it's hard for people to accept that this may be something that's going to happen because, think about how fast technology has gone. In just my lifetime, we went from not having cellular technology to being glued to our phones and have mobile computers in our pocket that are more powerful than anything that was even, out 10 years ago on a gaming PC. So it's pretty incredible. We didn't have a lot, just 100 years ago, let alone, 150 years ago, we were completely inept of this technology. So it's pretty hard for people to wrap their head around a future where people would be taking off Earth. Now, I'm not going to believe absolutely anything until I see it for myself. But again, I still like to talk about it because it's been something I've been following since I was a kid. Space Force, we don't know what they're doing, but directed energy is one thing that they actually kicked people off for even talking about on the platforms. So when I said it in a show, and then one time I put it in a title, this was before they confirmed it was real, they actually marked those videos, and one of them was removed about 3 years ago. And remember, DOD came out and did a press conference and said, essentially confirming that it's not only real, now it's a huge thing, and now they're using it for everything. And on top of weapons, now they're using it for propulsion. So this is, I guess take it for how your beliefs are. Tell me in the comments, how do you feel about this? Do you think it is something that is going on, or what's your opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, and then thank you everybody that just piled in. Appreciate all of you. Looks like both platforms, everybody is already piled in. Mary XX, Karen from Columbus, thank you for supporting over on DLive. Annette LaPow, Leo X White, and really, Most Infamous just followed. Hey, welcome to the Foogle fam on DLive. David Akers, thank you as well. Welcome. And then we have new details emerge about the aftermath of the F-35 crash aboard the USS Vinson. It took the USS Carl Vinson's crew just 45 minutes to get back to flight operations after the F-35 slammed into the carrier's deck. One thing that I think about is how they said 45 minutes they were ready to go again. I wonder if that's because they needed to be. We still have a big gray area as far as this crash goes. There's videos now of 2 different angles of this happening. But some experts have said that they believe that there may be some sort of foul play. I have not heard that from any official source, but again, people are just kind of confused why this has happened now several times in the recent last year. Is it something that was hacked, or was it a malfunction due to poor manufacturing, or what? It says U.S. Navy has revealed new details of the high-profile landing mishap involving the loss of an F-35C, one of our most advanced fighters that we have, from the Nimitz-class carrier USS Carl Vinson in the South China Sea on January 24th. This was followed by the leak of a photo and then 2 different videos of the incident, which threatened to overshadow the first operational cruise of the carrier variant of the Joint Strike Fighter. As the Navy continues to look into how the imagery of the mishap jet was leaked from the carrier during its cruise, officials confirmed that the incident, despite its dramatic appearance and the injuries to 7 crew, only resulted in a 45-minute holdup for flying operations. One thing that I think of is like how fast they were able to get it back and going. I mean, if this was in a conflict, it'd take them, well, I guess you could look at that 2 different ways. If this happened during a conflict, for them to get back to normal would take 45 minutes. In 45 minutes, your whole crew could be wiped out. I don't know, though. And most people are not thinking about how we do have a huge force and a huge Navy presence over in the South China Sea right now. We have at least 2 carrier strike groups. As far as I know, there has been no public disclosure of them leaving the South China Sea. And, of course, we have the other Navy over in Russia. Everybody is following the Ukrainian situation. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. A new bridge that appeared out of absolutely nowhere. They say that satellite images show that they built it in a rush, and this bridge would go into, assumingly, the Chernobyl area and give the Russians a unique access, of course, to Ukraine. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. First off, though, we have the flu detected in Kentucky, Virginia, Indiana as the outbreak spreads, officials say. We covered the first instances of this and, of course, the second instances of this. And now it says authorities with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, said has now been detected in flocks of birds in Kentucky and Virginia, just days after the officials said that thousands of birds were sickened with this ailment in Indiana. According to the agency, bird found in Fauquier County, Virginia, and in Fulton County, Kentucky on February 12th in non-poultry birds and commercial broiler chickens, respectively. On February 8th, the bird was detected in commercial turkeys in Du Bois County, Indiana. In a statement, the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service did not say whether the outbreak involved H5N1, the same highly pathogenic virus found extensively in wild birds and on the Indiana turkey farm. Citing the U.S. Centers for Control and Prevention, the USDA said that these avian detections do not present an immediate public health concern. No human cases of the avian influenza viruses have been detected in the United States. As a reminder, the proper handling and cooking of poultry and eggs to an internal temperature of 165 kills the bacteria and all of the bad stuff. So the one thing that we've been looking at is if this grows, it's less of a worry for us. It's more of a worry for the supply chain, for supplies of actual chicken and turkey, on top of what is already happening right now. We already have a shortage that is growing by the day, and this isn't trying to be, alarmist or anything, but we have actual knowledge that China essentially cut everything out and stopped shipping a ton of stuff once they announced the O variant. Once they announced that, even though here it's like you wouldn't be able to tell, my state just dropped certain mask rules, and we just had Washington, D.C., one of the more to one direction states out there. They just dropped theirs. We have all these things going on. And of course, meanwhile, in China, they are clamping down like crazy. It makes any reasonable person that's looking at this go, something else is going on. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Something is wrong. And I would have to ask you guys, what do you think? Like, am I crazy for thinking that things are not well right now and that something is happening right under our noses? I guess that would be my question to you. I'll turn the chat on for a second so we can see what everybody thinks about that. Bible Talk for Common People says, everything, and I mean everything, happening is Bible prophecy to the T. Everybody senses something big is going to happen, and they are all right. Not all know it's biblical. If they read Daniel, Matthew 24, and Revelation, their jaws would drop. Believe. I think that most people think that they know the Bible, but unless you have read it all the way through at least once to get an idea, I don't think a lot of people do. Or people will try to read the Bible or read some of the ones that aren't translated as simple, and they just don't know how much is actually happening right now that was in the Bible. Whether you're religious or not, there's a debate there as far as how much stuff has happened in the Bible that has now happened now. And a lot of crazy stuff that we've covered in just the last year that is very odd, that confirms a lot of it. Them finding that chariot-looking wheel right where the Red Sea was supposedly parted, right where it was parted, there was a wooden chariot wheel that's been there so long that it had grown animal life and different sea creatures in the shape of a chariot wheel. Like, that's just nuts to me to think that possibly that was a chariot wheel from chariots going through when he split the Red Sea. And then, of course, finding in the Middle East that a chunk of it was turned to salt. They say their theory is from a meteor strike, and that a huge part where, I guess, in that day, Sodom and Gomorrah would have been, right? So pretty crazy stuff, to say the least. Those were both kind of found out in the last year. That, to me, said a lot. Speed Rush, Retro Roman, Luis Martinez. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's really crazy. Remember, you can call in tonight. The number is 224-400-MARF. Jay Lightwine says the world is ending. That could be sarcasm, or many people are just straight up saying the world is ending right now. Let's see. Think the internet is all going down because Satanists know, very much so. It says, let's see, all the recalled meat went to the elite bunkers. That's a freaky thought, actually. What if they had to do that because all of the meat was being taken by the rich? It's all being frozen and stored. Let's see here. Oh, Jesus' blood was found. Who was that? Super Turf. Jesus' blood was found and tested. I didn't see that one, or maybe I did. Then we've got Terry Taylor, Schultz, Lauren T, Raymond Williams. Hey, Bones, what's going on? Thank you guys for modding. I thought I saw Lisa R. Hall there. Thank you, everybody, for popping in. Remember, you can call in 2244-006273. That number is down below. Again, that's 2244-006273. The U.S. refuses to lift avocado ban after crunch talks with Mexico. America refuses to lift this ban, and it says after crunch talks with Mexico, $70 million worth of avocados will now rot in Michoacan warehouses after drug cartel threatened to kill a USDA inspector. It says the United States refused to lift the ban on these Mexican avocados after representatives from the two countries spent 3 hours in a meeting trying to reopen imports as Mexico stands to lose $70 million worth of produce that was bound for America. In a bid to save more than 25,000 tons of avocados waiting to be shipped, officials from, and I apologize, I've never seen this before, it sounds like the Hispanic Michigan, Michoacan, and I can speak, kindergarten level Spanish. I Don't know how to say that. The only state allowed to export avocados to the U.S. met with USDA and U.S. Embassy representatives Wednesday to outline the creation of a new investigation and security unit to guarantee the safety of more than 70 U.S. health inspectors who work in the avocado facilities. So the cartel is now involved in fruits and vegetables, apparently. It says Americans noted that there is a willingness to work from all the actors and authorities. The Mexican trade group said in a statement that no date was given for the resumption. However, they said that they would work immediately to give an answer. Think that's pretty... that's actually kind of surprising to me. And obviously where any big money is, there's most likely going to be cartel and gang affiliations and things like that. Especially when you're talking about exports and imports from Mexico. But again, if you've done your research, you would know some of our three-letter agencies help with that. They most likely keep it going for some reason. By the way, thank you to Ron, and then thank you, John. John. I appreciate you subscribing. And let's see here. Dex, we're going to be going over to the phones here in just a second. It looks like we have West of the West, a first-time caller on the line, talking about banking issues and potential for the weekend events up in our top hat in the North Canada. We'll get West of the West on here. Thank you. Thank you again, Lori G, Claire L, Davis D, Tracy Q, and Linda S. Appreciate you guys.
Adam, West of the West is live.
All right, West of the West, what is going on, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Adam?
Fantastic. So what is happening here with the banking issues, and what are your thoughts?
Well, I think if you talk to the average guy on the street, there's a lot of people making run on the bank machines. And you were reporting on your last show or your last little bits about all the different outages of the banking machines as well. That's being caused by the run, I believe, on the people going to the bank machines. And it's a bigger issue because there's been a big call out for, I got to be careful how I say this. There's been a big call out for people to show their support and in a non-violent, very peaceful manner. And I think that's sort of what's leading into this. And then a lot of the talk in our parliament here in our house has, it's sowing a lot of division, a lot of divide. And our supreme leader, as I'm going to refer to him, has been doing nothing but, fanning those flames. I think that's a lot of what's happening right now.
So you believe that all of those ATMs are actually down either by choice or overloaded because so many people are going out and taking out cash because now they're afraid that they're basically the big guy, the big brother up there is going to go in and snatch it, freeze it, or do something to it that makes it not available. Is that right?
I think definitely people feel like their money is at risk, and that if they had any sort of contribution that went through any of those two websites that have been in the news that you've reported on, they're scared that they're going to lose their access to their money and the ability to buy food for their kids, the ability to travel, put fuel in their cars, the whole nine yards. That's really scary to a lot of regular folks. I mean, grandmas are wrapped up in this, and it's just incredibly sad.
And I'm assuming you are from up north. You're from Canada.
I'm from Alberta, Canada. I'm in the Edmonton area, which is the capital of Alberta.
By the way, and I have not followed him closely, and every time I watch him speak, I'm like, how did he end up? Who was he running against last time? That he was put into the play. Like, what did people think about him when he was fresh? Did people like him because he was personable or handsome, or like what was the reasoning behind? What is his big positive? Like, why did people like this guy?
Well, you're absolutely correct. I think he ran on a campaign. A supreme leader ran on a campaign of, I have nice hair, I got good looks, I'm the in people, I'm popular. I think the other big part of that is he ran on name recognition because his father, Supreme Leader Senior, was in charge of the company, and surprisingly enough, was the last time that we had any sort of conflict like what's going on today. There was a large, how do I say it? There was people being snatched. There was a political uprising against the people in charge, and it was his father at the same time sowing division and instating a lot of the laws that we see being implemented today. So, and the funny thing about that is he's got a minority in our ruling class. He has a very small percentage, and it's actually surprising that he's in charge. There's 3 other parties. Am I allowed to say party names?
Yes, just try to only say it once if you can. The more you say it, the more it raises the dinger.
Okay, well, we have the Red, which is similar to you. It's conservatives, and we have the NDP. Those are the 2 big parties, and we have a Green Party, which is kind of like the pro-marijuana sort of party, the Green movement here. But the 3 of them have what's called a minority government, and 2 of them have to agree for anything really to get done, except he's been able to bypass a lot of that in our House just through mandate and through, hope that's the okay word, just through sort of not sitting, not having question period. So he's been able to just do what he wants with very little. I would not say he has the support of the majority. Absolutely not.
So, and you're in Alberta. Have you felt the effects of what he has done yet, or is it just kind of business as usual? Have you noticed any difference since he put that in, or is there anything that is fishy to you? Or
well, the funny thing, even before they put it into place, all the stoppages that were happening along that one line between us two, up south and down south and up north, had already been cleared away. The trade had already started flowing, so it was nothing more than a power move. And our leader of our province here is like states down there, had already spoke out and said, we don't want your involvement, we don't need you here, and our local authorities can handle this just fine. There's no need for this. And many other of the leaders of the provinces here have said the exact same thing. As far as it affecting us, we're starting to see major price increases across the board, just like you guys, but like insane. We're not seeing the rush on the stores or anything like that. It's just a lot of fear. It's a lot of intimidation, and it's a lot of we're going to punish you because you don't think like we do. And it's coming from local leaders. Like we have mayors and other people that were his ministers that are very close to us here. So you can imagine we're feeling very much his rule here through them.
Well, it is really nice to hear from somebody that is living up there that has a unique perspective on this, because it is something that is so, I guess, it's so divisive right now. Anywhere you go, you're going to see 2 different sides on this. I appreciate hearing from somebody that is up north that can kind of speak on it. So, again, thank you for calling in and speaking your mind on this. Is there anything else you would like to say before you go?
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for what you do. You're on our prayer list. We have a couple of prayer list groups, you and Jammer One and stuff. So just hope you're doing better, and honk around the world. Everybody heard it.
All right. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling again. West of the West. Appreciate you, and be safe, be prepared, and Marv out. So people are torn over pretty much everything that is happening right now. I see a lot of arguments on which thing right now is the distraction. One thing that I know is that the military-industrial complex right now, there are a lot of warmongers in our military that would not mind if we went to WW3 or 4, or whichever you can, consider it. They would not mind, and they would not mind the loss of life. They would not mind the economic hits, because there are people that want to get this kicked off, very much so. And it's alive and well. This is something that, kind of they've had to keep at bay for a long time. There are benefits to a conflict, at least for the people that are sitting at the top of this very disturbing pyramid. And again, this pyramid goes through all of the countries, not to mention the leaders that are in, somewhat secretive groups, right? So what do you think? Tell me in the comments below, what do you thought of his call? I'd appreciate I love to read them. Again, thank you. Take a slight break here for 1 second. I do want to remind you, if you have not already, if you want to protect yourself against an EMP, it's one of the biggest threats to the United States and other allies, again, that are being pushed on right now. Emp Shield is a company that has not only worked for agencies like DOD, DHS, but now they are also working with the DEMSO team on the Texas grid. So again, both of the main grids in the United States are working with Emp Shield. You can go over to marfooglenews.com to see all of the different devices that they make. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. You'll see that they have protection for generators, motorcycles, boats. They even have protection for solar generators. They have solar protection for your actual system itself, for your RVs, your homes, and of course your car. The car version is extremely easy to put in. Many people in the Foogle fam have done videos of them putting it in. Survival Living, again, did a really great one. He had a unique car, so he had to do it a little bit differently. Make sure to go check out his video on how to install it. It took him a few minutes. Again, then, if we do have an EMP or a natural CME, a Carrington level event, your car will still run. Your generator will still run. Your RV will still run. If you plan on going somewhere or if you work far from home, this is definitely a good idea to have, especially if you do know about all of the things that have been going on right now. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. Appreciate that you guys go do that. You get $50 off on each device on top of any sale they run, and you help our independent broadcasts out. So thank you. That directly helps support Dex. Again, thank you everybody that goes over and does that. Much appreciated, and bless you. All right, and then Dex, it looks like we have a couple more people that are lined up. Do you want to speak on the White House claims Putin is deceiving the world as Russia is privately mobilizing for war?
Yeah, Adam. So as we started to allude to last night, that we thought that, there was no confirmation of pullout, and potentially there was this notion that troops were moving in. And now apparently the White House and many others are coming out and saying this as part of their messaging, is that absolutely they haven't pulled out, and absolutely they are moving in upwards of 7,000 more troops that they've counted so far.
And we'll talk about it here in just a minute. There is a new structure that was placed in. One thing that I kind of found interesting, and I just found this out, that Russia was doing all of these university studies on Chernobyl and how to utilize that land again. And I thought, well, that's in Ukraine. Why are they doing those studies? So I haven't confirmed that yet, so I want to look into that after the show, but that was something that was mentioned. Now, kind of funny considering what we're going to cover here in just a minute. First of all, though, I do want to say thank you, and thank you, V-Night, VNC. Blackhawks have been patrolling New York for months now. Thank you for what you do. By the way, V-Night, I believe that's someone who's been with me for a long time. Is that correct, V-Night? Don't you have a YouTube channel that has been around for a long time, like longer than mine? Anyways, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the support. It really is appreciated. All of you, thank you so much. Everyone's going through rough times, so if you can support, please do. But if you can't, don't, okay? I know that everybody's having a rough time right now. Maria Gonzalez, SHTF is coming. Everyone be safe and be prepared. Well, I agree with that. Personally, that's just my personal thoughts. And then Lisa K23, hello and love, fam. Lisa K, thank you for being very loyal, just being there every night. I see you in chat almost every single night. Thank you to the many people like Annette LaPow, Deep State of Mind, WJS Jen, Mombat Razar, Surplus Prepper. Thank you guys all for being there every night. I appreciate you. You guys keep the D-Live crew alive, so thank you. So, as far as the official information, this is all connected and over on our website. It says a senior B administration official said Russian claims they were withdrawing troops was false, and they are actually privately mobilizing for conflict. JB also shared warnings of an upcoming invasion of Ukraine, despite no intelligence to prove the claims. Which is kind of funny. So, by the way, Dex, did you see that? Like, he just blurted it out, and they're like, well, where's your information? And he says, just didn't answer.
Yeah.
He just said, oh, it's happening. Okay, is there something else you want to share here? It says, quote, we have now confirmed that it is in the last several days, Russia has increased its troop presence along the Ukrainian border by as many as 7,000 troops, with some arriving as recently as today. So, one thing, all of this information coming out, none of it has anything about any large explosions. There have been reports. There was the report that we shared last night, and it was breaking, and we actually added it into the show, that there was shelling, and that at least 4 locations were hit by things. So there is a chance, there's a small, tiny chance that video is real. And if you don't know what video I'm talking about, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com and check out the news video we just put out. If you have not seen that video, go over there and check it out. Very concerning things, not only out of the South Morning China Post from 2013 that possibly predicts Ukraine getting hit with something, and then, of course, the video that everyone is talking about on social media platforms like TikTok.
And in that shelling, though, Adam, one of the places that did get hit was a kindergarten.
And
I don't think anybody was there. I'm not sure. I haven't heard that, but that sort of lines up with, some of the conversations they've had about,
Fantastic Freddy's.
Yeah, a pretext.
Well, think about what Germany did to Poland in WW2. They literally hit a preschool or something, or it was I want to say it was kindergarten, where they dressed up as a Polish soldier and then threw a grenade inside of a school. That was what got the German people a good part of it, good behind Mr. Hit, right? They were like, wow, Poland attacked our children. I mean, what a quicker way to get to people's hearts and to get the support of the people than, somebody goes after our kids. As a father of 4, I mean, you mess with my kid, you mess with me. So, and again, even just kids in general, anybody who's a parent knows, when you hear anything about children, it immediately makes your brain think like that could have been my kid, or, it just makes us red in the eyes. Andrew Brown, thank you so much for your support. Deanna B, I appreciate your support as well. Thank you for doing the super stickers, guys. Andrew Brown, thank you so much. And then Billy Leather says, Russia is messing with us. Love the callers. Yes, Billy, there's a very good chance that they are trolling us, right? There's many different things here. I guess my thought is, like, even if it was down to a 1% chance that it was really going to happen, people should know that instead of being completely in the dark. It really does show you how little people watch mainstream media, that no one knows about this stuff. I've talked to many people in the last few days in the public venue and just all over the place, checkers at the grocery store. Nobody even knows what's going on. Nobody even knows that Russia has an ordeal with Ukraine. That means they're not watching the Foxes. They're not watching the CNBCs. They're not watching the CNNs. They're just not watching at all. They're not even watching, local stations. So, and then social media, the few things they might see are echo chambered and, just repeating if people don't like the news, the social media platforms algorithms will not feed it to them. They'll just feed them the stuff they like. People just consume and gobble up what they like, and don't realize that they're being sheltered in ways. That's why I try to have, when I look for stuff, I look from multiple accounts, and I try to exit out and go back in and try to see what it grabs. Dex?
And just an update on the kindergarten. There were people there. 2 or 3 adults suffered concussions, but none of the children were, or apparently the children were unharmed. But yeah, it did go through and hit it. They were in a different room, according to the Washington Post, is who's reporting that.
And it was shelling, correct? Like artillery?
Yeah, there was multiple shelling and grenades going back and forth, which that's not uncommon in that area, but apparently there was some sort of ceasefire supposedly in place given the tension that's going on. And some are saying that sort of broke the ceasefire. But others are sort of saying, yeah, this stuff happens there on a daily basis, which is what I reported last night when we broke it. I said, hey, just, before everybody freaks out, this does happen there a lot.
Yeah, it's in an area where there are pro-separatists and there's these groups that have been at conflict for a long time. And then we have NK's hypersonic missile claims are credible, exclusive analysis shows. It says people watch a television broadcast reporting on North Kim Jong-un on January 5th, 2022 in Seoul, South Korea. It says, as the U.S. works to develop a hypersonic arsenal, NK has now claimed 3 different launches as successful hypersonic weapons tests. Few take Pyongyang at its word, but a new analysis by experts Ralph Salvesberg and Tomohiko Kawagachi has concluded that the DPRK likely has developed a hypersonic weapon. In this exclusive analysis for Breaking Defense, the pair explain their work and their troubling conclusions. NK has already performed more missile tests in 2022 than they did in all of 2021. Some of the tests have involved missiles that they have launched before, but the most eye-popping claim from Pyongyang is that a pair of the launches on January 5th and the 11th involved a previously unknown capability, a hypersonic missile. We know for a fact that Russia has given them technology before, that Russia has given them the technology and the ability to do a FOBS, a fractional orbital bombardment, orbital bombardment system. So going around the planet and then coming in and then dropping and landing, right? Now they are supposedly doing hypersonic missiles, which Russia was one of the first to say they had it. China says that they now have it. And then, of course, the U.S. says that we have it, but we have not had any public success with it, or much, right? Dex, have we had a public success with hypersonic missiles yet?
I think one company had a successful test, but the other company, I want to say it was Lockheed, that was the main one. 3 times in a row it failed.
Which
yeah,
is
publicly we don't look good.
Yeah.
At least what they're saying publicly is we don't have it. We're still trying to get it, and NK has it. I mean, they're saying right here that they clocked it and they were at Mach 10 with one of those hypersonics.
Jeez, Mach 10. Isn't Mach like Mach
speed of sound?
Mach 2 is speed of sound, or one Mach is the speed of sound.
Correct.
Isn't that 2,000 miles per hour?
It's 700 kilometers. Well, I don't know what the miles per hour, but I'll have to look it up.
Geez, incredible. So is this true? Is this propaganda? Now we have some confirmation, but how credible is the records of these 2 scientists or these 2 analysts, experts apparently on this subject?
7,672 miles per hour.
That's 1 Mach, though, right?
No, that's 10.
I'm sorry, that's 10 Mach.
That's 10. So 7, yeah.
Okay, so divided by...
And 1 is obviously 767.
Wow. So, well, still incredibly fast. And then here is one of the biggest things here. So a pontoon bridge appears in Chernobyl exclusion zone that could give Russia unique access to Ukraine. Now, in this thumb, you'll see this bridge has now popped out of nowhere. And as you extend out, you'll see that it's been just freshly kind of dug out, and they have construction equipment that has basically scraped off all of the land there to make this clear pathway. It also looks like they cleared a place for them to place, basically to place tanks and to place equipment. It says the construction of a pontoon bridge across the Pripyat River comes as concerns persist that Russia may be about to attack Ukraine. Of course, this is between Belarus and Chernobyl. It's right there. And it says, amid persisting concerns that the Kremlin may soon launch a new military incursion into Ukraine, recent satellite imagery shows a pontoon bridge across a potentially strategic portion of the Pripyat River in Belarus. This was very likely constructed by Russian forces, possibly in cooperation with Belarusian units. Here's some more images here. It shows the general area and where this is, and it would be a unique access. Dex. Now, of course, I wonder if there was a zoomed in picture of this. It looks like it's big enough to take all sorts of tanks. So, in fact, there's a...
Yeah, I think the smaller image on the bottom right shows a vehicle going over it. This is a standard, military style bridge that they, float out when they need to cross a river. So, but this was set up, I want to say, between the 14th and 15th of this month. So it's that's what they're estimating based on the satellite images from commercial satellites, not government satellites, but commercial satellites. They were able to pick up both when it started to clear the land on either end of the river, and then later when they saw the bridge actually constructed.
Now, okay, this is kind of freaky. What are those arms that are coming out of this? Is a floating bridge, and it looks like it's a temporary made bridge that they can just pop up and pop down in pieces, or at least that's what it somewhat looks like, right? What are those arms for? Are those arms for potential barbed wire? Can they place barbed wire on those arms? Is that why they're there and pointed out like that? That's what it reminds me of.
That, or it may just be for safety for troop crossings if they're on foot. But there's also these little barge boats like the one you see there. There's multiple of those boats. I think you can see it in the satellite image. They obviously are pushed into the current, so they're constantly there holding, the structure in its spot with motor power.
Okay, that's so weird. So to keep this here, because it is a river, they have to be constantly pushing on it. So this seems like something that they would put up right before something happened. Or am I wrong on that? They would have to sit there for days on days to keep this bridge there. Or maybe they have to do
I would think so. I would think it's something you would put up quickly, you would use, and then you might take down, or you might put it back up when you need it. I don't know if you would keep it manned for months.
Or maybe they just need the boats there when things cross it so it stays straight. If you look at this thumbnail again, this is what we're talking about. These are these boats that you see in the other picture here. There's 5, at least right here. And then when you look at the close-up picture, you'll see that these boats with tires, they're amphibious, so they can drive up on land. They are there pushing it and keeping it straight, apparently, or keeping it there. So, I mean, which side do you believe? At this point, it looks like they are moving things across and up to the border. And, I mean, why do all of this if you're just going to back down? Is this all just one massive drill? I mean, it seems to me like people just don't. I think the reason why people don't want to believe the U.S. government, and that's why we are having so many debates about this. I have seen, and I totally agree with the opinion. Somebody said, I am so done with this. If it doesn't happen this time, I'm not watching news ever again, because people are tired of it not happening. Like, it's saying that it's going to happen, and it doesn't. But from everything we see action-wise, and from the word from our military members, they are saying that this is happening, but now that it is in the political arena, people are using it to different advantages, and people are using it to argue against others. I mean, I just saw, of course, a couple of different politicians using it on both ends to attack each other. I saw Tulsi Gabbard on there saying that, she was attacking the other side, and then somebody on the left was attacking the right. It went both ways. So, anything that is politicized is going to have people debating. I'm just asking for people to keep an open mind and to not be surprised if we do get into this massive conflict. It works out about time that we need to be in another conflict. And if you look at the United States, this is a true fact, and I know most of you have already heard me say this. The United States has been at war 92% of its time over the hundreds of years we've been around. Since they signed the Declaration of Independence, we've been at conflict 92% of the time. So that's an incredible thing. We've always been in a conflict. Piloter Miskiewicz says, my non-deployable unit is being ordered to send a few soldiers to you-know-where, at least on the outskirts. Our unit never gets sent anywhere, ever. My non-deployable unit. I don't, if a military member wants to tell me what that means. My non-deployable unit is being ordered to send a few soldiers to you-know-where, at least on the outskirts. Our unit never gets sent anywhere, ever. So someone in the military is saying that. What is non-deployable? I mean, obviously that they don't get deployed, but they are yet sending a few guys. Patty Foot says, Adam and Dex, you guys are the best. Been with you and Adam from the beginning. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you guys. I think you've been here for over 3 years now, so thank you. Brandy Rieger, thank you so much for subscribing. And then thank you, Dan C. Thank you for the $10 donation over on PayPal during the show. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, and then Dex, let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have, let's see here. Looks like we have Lindsay, another first-time caller, and she would like to talk about what's happening in Ukraine and the Middle East.
And Adam, Lindsay is live.
Lindsay, you're live on Marfoogle News. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I just sent in some links from the satellite images. One of them I think you were just reviewing of the bridge. Just a side note, those are actually like big pontoon boats, and the bridges like the fold out, and the United States has them too. So we flooded on the West Coast this right before winter, and they used them because people got trapped in by the rivers. So those boats are actually attached to the bridge. It's not boats trying to hold the bridge in place.
Okay, so, and they have wheels. So I'm assuming, does the bridge have wheels underneath too?
They can go on land and water. Yes.
Oh wow, that is a trip. So if you guys, so basically these sections, are they in sections? So it's multiple sections, and each boat is connected to a section, and they can move. And I'm assuming that underneath the bridge, in the same direction the boat is going, there are wheels underneath, so they can move these into place.
So there's anchors. There's like anchors that come down and they lock in to the soil, I believe. I don't know. I've just seen them. This, like I said, right before winter, because we flooded, I actually saw one be placed, but they have to use multiple. So they used a ton of them for this river. Our river was like a quarter of the size. Unless, I mean, it's Russia. I'm sure their equipment's different, but similar concept.
Okay, and then the next picture is a satellite photo. Shows looks like a base in the snow.
Yeah. Oh, so that's kind of where I'm calling. So everybody's kind of watching right now with Ukraine, and there is a buildup, and they're not going anywhere. And I totally get it. Like, you know, that's a big, scary thing. But there is another part of the world that Russia has their hand in, as well as China, and nobody's reporting it. Nobody's saying anything. It's not on mainstream media. Like, you will not find it unless you look for it. And I'd say Israel in the Middle East was boomered. Sorry, I'm trying to think of words. By Israel and not S Middle East, and it was reported that S Middle East had actually done the boomer, and Israel in the Middle East is dancing in the street, burning American flags and Israel flags, and saying that in the coming future, once these sanctions are lifted within 3 weeks, Mr. B is going to sanction Israel in the Middle East, and they have everything they need for, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say uranium. Hopefully I am.
Yeah.
They have everything they need. And they're basically saying that, like, that moment is going to come quickly, and nobody is reporting. But conveniently, the entire United States drops these mandates, and Canada is the only one to remain, and as patriots, you know, United States and Canada combined, we're ready to fight for our freedom, obviously. So we're so focused because this is on our home front, right? And then we've got the second distraction of Ukraine, and Russia's got their hand in everything, but there is mass, more than Ukraine coming into the Middle East right now, mass military movement. And they are testing H-boomers. Like, I mean, that's how serious it is, and it's not being covered. But the Middle East is like begging, like their military, the civilians, everybody is begging for publicity, for awareness. I mean, and it's getting taken down as fast as it's coming up.
So,
and nobody's talking about it.
So we have heard of we didn't know it was as big as what you're saying. Now you have me curious. I want to go down the rabbit holes. But here's why I could believe that this is completely could happen. Is the thing is when people place videos up, and there's videos from all over the world. I have seen videos by the time I go to share them with Dex, they are gone.
It says like, unavailable, and it shows a little robot head.
Yes, and it's like they're getting rid of videos from different countries so fast, and that's why they've set up this massive internet system where they can go in and just it's gone. And people didn't get it when they started doing this, where they used the reason, you know, it's against our guidelines, and they did all this. The reason why so many people want us to be able to make whatever video we want and have it, you know, still be able to be in the program, so to speak, is because there are things being shared. Back when the NZ event happened, that event let the platforms make it so you couldn't do live video unless you had so many subscribers. So no regular average Joe is going to be able to go live on their phone on YouTube without actually, you know, putting effort into making a platform and making 1,000 subscribers. That's why they did that, because the average Joe couldn't just say, hey, here's, you know, Middle East, and this is today, right now at 3:00. This is happening right now. They can't do that because now there's filters.
Absolutely. I implore everybody to just step back from the situation and look at the bigger picture. I think first and foremost, we need to be able to collect satellite. Everyone needs to be watching everywhere. Anywhere Russia is, we need to be watching. We need to not focus on one key aspect, because that's what our government is counting on, is that we're going to be so absorbed and just sucked into one thing that we're not going to be watching their other hand. And I'm talking everything. Every bill that's being passed, you need to have at least one person you know reading those bills. Everything, Canada, United States, Ukraine, the Middle East. The other thing is it's really convenient. Like, I just read through your list of, you know, words that I'm not allowed to say, and basically every single one of them involves the Middle East, just like you're saying. Like, they do not want that publicized right now, specifically. Like, that is a big thing, the Middle East.
And by the way, I just want to clarify our list. So when you call in, we send you a link, and you can see it's clearly printed out. We have a replacement, our code word for each thing. Somebody commented and said that I said somebody's name wrong, and I purposely say their name wrong, and they said, "Oh, you're you know, the lack of intelligence. You can't even say their name." First of all, pronunciation isn't an intelligence thing. That's people have names from all over the world, and it would be impossible for everyone to be an expert on every single person's name. But I said, yeah, we're so unintelligent that we have memorized almost, I don't know how many hundreds of words, over 500 words that we have to replace with something else, because we have done a system to where we found out how we can still be spread out there. That list has a replacement, and almost all of the Foogle fam actually know most of the replacements. So everybody that's been watching knows the words, including names. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really perplexing when you see it for the first time. I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit intimidated, because I don't want to affect you guys, because you're bringing so much awareness to everybody. Like, nobody's talking about some of the things you're talking about. And some of them, people are like, wow, that's really out there. And then they just kind of step back, and then they're like, oh, I'm just going to focus on reality, when 90% of that is reality. Like all those conspiracy theorists, like 10 years ago, would have never thought that today was possible. And everyone called them crazy, but look what's happening. I mean, like we're literally days away from Ezekiel 38 and 39. Days away. I'm talking end of the world tribulation, and people are watching the football and, just going on with their lives. And I'm not saying panic, but be aware of your surroundings,
I don't think anybody should panic, and if you're panicking, that means that you are fearful because of another thing. People are fearful of death, and that it comes back to death. Every one of us, nobody wants to talk about it. Most people don't even do a will because they don't want to think about it. I mean, think about the people that avoid, getting calls from strange numbers or from bill collectors. Imagine how all humans are hardwired not to think about death, not to deal with death. And that is when you really bring it back. If you're not afraid to death, and I would say that a lot of Christians and even other religions, they're not afraid of death. So this doesn't panic them so much because they have faith that, they're going somewhere. And that's just human nature. That's why people have been drawn to religions, because that overall question, what happens when we die? I guess I'm not afraid. I have health issues, and I know I'm most likely not going to live as long as everybody else. But again, I'm not afraid of it, and that makes me not afraid of all this other stuff. I would rather be prepared and help be in that place where I can help my kids survive longer. Really, it's most of us care about our family.
Yeah, I have kids myself, so that's where I see it. And then my other thing is there's people in the community that are going to need help. And so you look at it from that perspective too, because something does happen and you're one of those people that makes it and you somewhat prepared, like you want to be able to help people that are in need and your own blood. But at the end of the day, you don't want to panic either. And I have a very solid faith, and, everyone has their own battles, but I think take it day to day, analyze your day, look at your surroundings, don't panic, but just be aware.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you so much for calling in. And Lindsay, I hope you call back again, okay? It's your first time call. Don't make it your last.
Yeah, I have horrible reception. I'm honestly surprised I kept the phone call.
Well, it was perfect for us. So thank you so much. And again, thank you for sending us the pictures. Oh, wait. I do want to make sure that I get through. There was a couple other pictures I did not show everybody. So let me make sure that there's nothing that you need to comment on. So, by the way, where did you get most of these satellite images? Looks like you're watching somebody.
They were released by the United States government on they were like yesterday. So the two of them were yesterday. The other ones were on the 17th.
Okay. Well, we will link a resource so people can find these. And then, of course, we will link these 5 photos on the website. Thank you, Lindsay. And again, don't be a stranger, okay? All right. Have a good night. Be safe.
Yeah. Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye. Again, you comment on Lindsay's call down below. I'd love to hear from everybody. I try to read every comment if I can. I can't respond to everybody, but I try to respond to at least a good chunk in the first hour. Thank you, everybody that is polite down there. Remember, that's part of it as well. Thank you for the highly intelligent people down there that actually pay attention to the list as well. Just appreciate all of you guys that have been with us for a long time. Before we move on, let me just throw this out there. Again, if you haven't prepped up and you are looking for a place to do it, we have a great outlet for you. Again, My Patriot Supply has almost everything. They are a large company that has kept their supplies up, even through all these other companies that are basically out of anything edible. They have had their kind of full list and full menu open. They have also not raised their prices. The only thing they have done is take away some of their discounts, but they have actually brought those back. So if you want to save up to $150 on a 3-month supply of long-term survival food, you can go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. On top of that, you can get several gadgets and things that you would actually would definitely be way better off having, as far as battery banks, solar panel, smaller solar panels that are battery banks built in. There are iodine pills over there. There's pretty much everything you would need. Emergency radios, all sorts of awesome things that would be good not only for the end of the world, but also for just a regular storm. If you lose power for 7 or 8 days, like much of California had with the rolling blackouts, or in Texas where they had the big freeze and people didn't have power for days with negative temperatures, you can get that all over here. On top of that, not only are you going to be helping our channel, you are going to get a discount in some ways, and then again, you're going to be getting great quality products, and in most cases shipped very fast. So you never and by the way, the prices are only going up on these things. They're not going down. Inflation is going up. The longer you wait, of course, the higher price everything is going to be. And that includes the things that you can't get. Now, if you can't afford to get some stuff like this, we try to give you a resource. There are other channels in the Foogle fam that tell you how to do prep affordably. Again, there's people like Alaska Prepper that do payday preps where you can take a minimal amount of money and try to make a kind of a do-it-yourself kind of prep regiment. He is a great guy on and off camera. Survival Living, again, same thing. On and off, he's the same guy. Go over him. He's training, and he's even doing classes now. So there's a lot of resources if you do not have the funds to do this. Don't do this if you pay your bills first. But if you can, support us in this way. And again, it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps us out. Thank you, everybody that has already done so and will do so in the future. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about the Russia demands U.S. pull troops from Central and Eastern Europe as President B says invasion in days.
Yeah, so when I think about this was like, negotiating, and all of a sudden they just lopped on a whole bunch of new things. It's like out of the blue. It's like, okay, well, we were just wanting to talk about not having, Ukraine be in NATO. We don't want any missiles in Ukraine. We need to protect our security. Now it's just like, okay, you got to take everybody out of Europe, especially on the eastern side. It's like all of a sudden they're throwing more stuff when the first things we weren't willing to negotiate with very much. So they just piled more on. So it's almost like they know we're not going to negotiate that. So they're adding things to the list that they can sort of say, see, they're not going to do it. So now we have a right to go in. At least that's the perception of.
You're cutting out, Dex. I hope can.
Oh, wow. Maybe we're having internet difficulties.
I just one of these days, man. I just feel like one of these days it's. By the
so
we'll wait for
maybe I'm back.
Okay. Well, you are back, and I think we heard of that. Just repeat the last couple sentences there.
Well, yeah, I was just saying that this is the perception that's being given, and it's almost like they're creating a non-negotiable or an impossible negotiation by adding this stuff into something that we weren't going to negotiate the minor stuff. So this is even bigger. So and maybe it's just the stage they're setting, right? Very
well could be. I always think when it starts getting choppy, and I'm always thinking like, do they want that heard, right? Stephen McMahon says, I want to make sure I get the whole message here. One of the reasons the elite wanted to oust Orange Man was that he wanted to pull out of NATO, and the elite had plans for the U.S. and NATO in Ukraine. So again, I remember his many speeches on that saying, hey, we were putting a lot of money into this. Nobody else is. Like, we're basically footing the bill for NATO. And why? This is a raw deal. That T-Man did a lot of that. Like, he was looking at the books and he's like, hey, why are we spending this money here? A good chunk of his speeches involved at least one of these things that, we're spending all this money on that shouldn't be. The one thing that people, it's hard to argue is that he's wiggled his way through life and into a billionaire, whether you say that he's gone bankrupt over here and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's accrued billions of dollars, and an extreme amount of power. I mean, he became president somehow. So whatever you think of him, the guy has done a lot of stuff. I personally think that all of these guys are working for some higher up. You can't be a president unless you're part of some sort of group. There's more people that like T-Man that like JB, but there's people here that love JB. There's people that just say, hey, he's reliable. He's kind of the safe card, right? But again, at some point, people realize like he's not actually running it. He's literally reading off a prompt and he can't say anything by himself. I mean, he gets in trouble for saying things. Who the hell is telling him he's going to get in trouble? He's the president of the United States. I mean, that's scary. I've never heard a single president say anything like it. Like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble if I say this, but who are you going to get in trouble with? You're the strongest country in the world. Or are we? We were the, freedom this and freedom that, but now it's like the main public square that we all go to, we can't say anything. If you offend anyone, you're screwed. You're canceled. You're deleted. You're demonetized. It's a scary place we're in right now. By the way, and then Indie Gal, thank you so much. Massive support from Indie Gal. Thank you. Let's get an Indy in the chat, like Indianapolis. Love and support our family in Christ and truth. Thank you. Hey, Indie Gal, I appreciate that. Indy, like Indianapolis. Marfool's Gold, I saw you in a couple chats this week. Thank you. It was nice seeing you. I can't remember who. I think it was Days of Noah. And I tried to get in and say hi, but I wasn't subscribed. I just found him, and I wasn't subscribed for 20 minutes, so I had to wait. I think you left by the time I got into the chat. Interesting program. It was really great. I didn't watch the whole 4 hours, but I watched probably a good hour of it. Kathleen Civils, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bible Talk for Common People, Pearl Harbor, the Twins, WMD and I Rock. And now this. Nah, they wouldn't do it again. They love me, right? Yes, all of those events. Fantastic Freddy, Deanna B., Andrew Brown, and Billy Leather. Thank you. I missed Cameron Combs earlier. It says Ukraine was boomed. Ukraine ambassador saying it was a Russia-backed separatist. So that could be normal. It says some Russians are saying Ukraine also attacked them as well. We don't know yet. That's why I wait for confirmation. You don't want to jump the gun on something like this. Kimberly Banks, thank you. I appreciate you, and I believe I missed you earlier. And then Kimber, thank you for the super sticker. Cloaked Cloud, Spartan O negative. Very much appreciated. Judy, and then Don Bali. Thank you guys. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Russia is making demands as President B says the invasion will occur in a matter of days.
Yeah, so here we have yet another report, specifically quoting a matter of days is coming back into play. And this is not, 4 days ago. This is a current article, and from a pretty respectable source. This is from the Drive, the War Zone, which is put out a lot of good information. But they're really just, we're talking here again specifically about the fact that from the U.S. or the administrative perspective, they're saying it's going to happen, or it's going to happen in a matter of days. And we're hearing from the other side that no, it's not. We're not doing that. And who do we believe at this point? Like, our heads are spinning around in circles, and maybe that's what they want. Maybe they just want us all distracted with this.
And that's why I said watch. And that caller, great call, Lindsay. You guys give Lindsay a hand. Where she said, watch. Everybody needs to read out every bill that's happening, every law that's changing, every executive order that's being placed, right? In all of our countries, what the hell is going on in the background? That is what we need to pay attention to. Everyone needs to do their own part too. And you guys are all of our extended network here. If you are a viewer, you can get us information. If you have, as far as, you look into something and you find something weird, send it to us first. Send it to us 3 different ways. Send it to Adam@marfooglenews.com. Send it to Dex@marfooglenews.com. DM me on Twitter. Get it to us. And again, it's hard. We get so many messages. But if you send it in all of the different ways, we will most likely see it. So try to find our other ways. I'm on Instagram, I'm on everywhere. Just hit me up. If you have something urgent, get it to us quick. And then, again, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, if you want to get that information and the notifications, you need to hit that button and press all notifications. So that, again, another source saying that. And then China says U.S. is exaggerating the Russian threat to Ukraine. We like to cover both sides here. It says China accused the United States of playing up the threat of warfare and creating tension, as President JB warned that more than 150,000 Russian troops were still amassed during this period at Ukraine's borders following Moscow's announcement of a partial pullback. Not only are they saying that the pullback is not confirmed, they're saying 7,000 more troops have been put into place. Western nations have suggested arms control and confidence-building steps to defuse the standoff. And it says that, which has prompted them to urge their citizens to leave Ukraine because an attack would come at any time. Russia denies it has any plans to invade. And it says, quote, such persistent hyping up of disinformation by some Western countries will create turbulence and uncertainty to the world full of challenges and intensifying distress and division. That was, of course, from Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin, told reporters at a regular briefing in Beijing on Wednesday. It says, quote, we hope relevant parties will stop such disinformation campaigns and do more to benefit peace, mutual trust, and cooperation. That, again, was China saying that we should stop disinformation. But we do put out a lot of disinformation as far as the U.S. goes. The U.S. government is probably one of the worst, but China that's like the pot calling the kettle black. All right, and then let's see here. Dex, let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have Tuck Pup. And before we go to Tuck Pup, I just want to remind everybody that you can head over to Energy, marfooglenews.com/energy, and check out the solar generator that's actually running our router and our whole show. Again, if you haven't seen these are one of the most sought-after solar generators out there because they are modular. You don't have to just stop at the one battery and base unit, the Flex 1500. You can add in another battery and another and another. They all stack on top of each other. Again, you can make a whole wall of batteries, and if you want it to charge faster, you can even add mods to this that will allow it to charge not only twice as fast, 3 times as fast, and so on, depending on how many of these you place in. Now, you can speed up the charge time. You can get a quick charger. You can get different accessories like low voltage stoves, low voltage things that you can use with this that you can plug right in and get your whole campsite going, get your whole house up and running. Again, this is pretty amazing. Some people, especially that should think about this, if you have a CPAP machine, if your power goes out for any amount of time, anyone that has a CPAP knows that if they don't have that CPAP machine, they very well could perish in their sleep. Or, again, if you have a 7-day outage just from a storm, this is something people need to be thinking about. Now, when you go over there, you will be helping the channel, but you'll also be getting one of the most sought-after generators out there. This is, again, is silent. I can't even run my fan, but yet I can run this the entire time. Again, go over to Energy, and that's with Energy with an I, marfooglenews.com/energy. That's, again, marfooglenews.com/energy, and use the code Marfoogle. Let them know that you got there through us. And, by the way, just one last thing is you can get a Emp Shield equipped Energy solar generator, so make sure to go over and check that out. All right, Dex, let's go over to our caller, Tuck Pup.
Yeah, Tuck Pup is live, Adam.
Tuck Pup, what is going on? You were live on Marfoogle News.
Hey, Adam. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's been a while, so you wanted to give your thoughts. Again, Tuck Pup from Minnesota, opinion about the possible way for Russia to take over Ukraine. What's up with that?
Yeah, so and I'm going to make a quick disclaimer. I'm not in the service, A big thanks to all of our active and retired military. I'm not in the service. I was just talking to, so I don't know a whole lot about how it goes down. I'm just going to relay some information that I got from a younger guy. I think he's in his late 20s, and he's going to school for political science, but I believe he's in the Air Force. He was either in the Air Force or the Navy. I can't remember, but he's going to school for political science at the same time. So he's, involved, knows a few things. And so he's a friend of a friend. We made a phone call the other day. And he came up with an interesting theory, kind of, I would say, based on the fact he's going to school for political science. And he was under the impression that if Russia were to take Ukraine, that Russia's attack, so to speak, would be more on the political front. And he was geared towards this idea, and Dex and I talked about it briefly. Dex put it really well. I'm not going to sound super smart with this, but basically, like, Russia, and having a little brother of Ukraine in some ways, would rather, it seems like it could be legitimate, that they would rather make the United States and NATO kind of look as make an embarrassment of them, which, given who we, and I said the same thing to Dex, given who we have at the helm of our operations as of lately, is not a very hard thing to do, to make a fool of the United States, being a major contributor to NATO.
So they're trolling us. The theory that they're trolling us, and then last second they pull out and make it look like we've said it's imminent, it's everything else, and then back out and make us look dumb. Well, right. And when Lindsay was talking about the S country, you actually had a Google search of the S country, and when she was talking about the stuff in the Middle East, I just happened to do a Google search, and I think I sent the link to you on Twitter. It was a law. Let me look at it. Lawfare blog article about Russia's involvement in it was the future of Moscow's Middle East policy, and it talked about the chemical attacks and the U.S. being involved with some conflicts over there, and the O administration. Really interesting article. If you get a chance to look at that and share it. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get it to you guys sooner. But it talked about how now Russia has, I'm trying to look for the quote, but Russia has a 49-year agreement of access to the airspace and access to military presence in that country. And also when they, she was talking about, I believe, burning flags, something to that tune. But basically that was a Russian probe, as if the U.S. had done it. They were seriously involved, like she was saying. And this article goes on. I mean, it's got to be 6 pages long, but very, very interesting stuff. So I would not be surprised at all if, like my personal opinion is, I don't know enough to throw it out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's active military, big booms, whether it's an FF or not, or I wouldn't be surprised if, like you've said, and a lot of people have said, if it's a combination of that and some sort of backdoor deal. And not to mention we have the China thing going on, where, China and Taiwan are going to go down. So there is a whole lot of things that add up. And I got to give you guys a shout out, man. I've been watching you guys for 4 years strong. And so I start talking to people about some of this stuff. And I have a lot of gratitude for you guys, because you do provide us with the facts. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who have an opinion about something because it just feels like something's going on. But when we start reading this stuff, the Foogle fam starts reading this stuff and we start talking to each other, I think it really gives us a little bit of leverage to have civil conversation based on facts. So that's, I can't thank you guys enough, because it gives us a little bit more of a platform to stand on, and then kind of combat the nonsense that Well, we want to
people
make
who aren't
sure
quite awake that will pitch at us.
We want to make sure that if you are going to go to somebody who's, some people call them normies, right? Or somebody who's, because we're told that we're crazy, that we're oversensitive, that we're one of those, right? People, I've seen so many people comment that where their family says, "Oh, you're one of those people," or they immediately put you in a political party when you're not. People, when people first like commented like, "Oh, you're part of the R party or the D party," I'm like, "No, I'm not. Why would I don't want to be either party. I'm a person, and I line up with some things over here, some things over there, but why in the last 10 years do you have to be cemented into one thing or the other? Based on the moment, if you believe in this, then you're that, and then you're this, and they attach all of these stereotypes. Like there used to be stereotypes on racial profiling right now. Now there's stereotypes based on political beliefs. How did they do stereotypes based on a non-physical feature and on a actual belief? Now there's like literal stereotypes on that. But one thing that we wanted to do is if you share our show, that that at least that person, you can go, hey, they back up everything. They have a source. So even if you think they're crazy, then you can at least go check out the original source of it. And if they do give an opinion, they make sure to clarify that this is what they think. And that's what we should all be able to do. We shouldn't be shut down for speaking. It's unbelievable what has happened right now. It's the scariest time of any of our lives, at least for me and a lot of others that I talk to, off camera. It's insane.
Well, and I think you bring up a really interesting point too, as far as the two-party thing that we're experiencing today is not, there have always been the two parties, right? But the experience of how they are perceived socially has changed, partially due to the, who's influencing us, what the MSM is saying, what social media is doing. And I only say that because I have a friend that I'm really close with. He's an older guy. He's got to be in his late 70s, and he's in old school, bang bang, concealed toting, D swinging guy, right? Like what we would call the opposite of my right hand. He's on that side.
Yeah.
And he doesn't line up with what these younger pushed beliefs of that profile are.
Yep. And
so it's very interesting that now, like you said, it's a non-physical feature, right? And he still believes in a lot of things that's opposite from the T-man, supposedly. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. But he doesn't line up with everything on one side or everything on the other side, but identifies as, hey, I've been involved with this party. I don't necessarily cast a vote for this person because of that all the time. And sometimes you would choose not to vote, but he's an older guy. He's not dealing with this young political wokeism that, unfortunately, the younger end, I'm coming up on 30, so the younger end of my generation is dealing with, right? And so I don't know, there's so much going on. And as far as, like I said, as far as the opinion with whether it's a political takeover or not, I think something's going to happen. I think the other thing he did say is that he confirmed, I think it's the 82nd Airborne, so Air Force guys, let me know if I'm wrong, but the 82nd Airborne was deployed and has been guaranteed that. And obviously we know there's more than that, but they were the first to go because they're the fastest to respond within hours across the world. And I was just telling Dex, I travel all the time for work. So this last week I just got home yesterday and I traveled through 5 states. I did 4 flights from the East Coast all the way back to Denver and then back to Minneapolis over the last 5 days. And I can tell you that military personnel in airports, as far as traveling with packs, has increased in the last 3 months that I've been flying around. And when I was driving from Alamosa, Colorado, on Highway 160 and Interstate 25, right up towards Pueblo, there is a Air Force base. And there was a convoy between Alamosa and Pueblo, and I think I couldn't get pictures, but it was either 6 or 8 trucks. They were fully loaded, had their the orange placards out that state the weight of the booms that they're carrying, and the front truck of the convoy was full of packs of army packs, and they had the tag similar to the ones you showed getting loaded onto one of those carriers. So they were painted and had the tag numbers that can't remember his name, but he described that they were Army numbers, and they had one of those tank wrecker picker upper things, and yeah, so they're moving around.
I think it was Lone Star Pioneering
getting more expensive.
Well, again, we're running out of time, but yeah, no, a lot of calls and a lot of DMs about gray painted. And I would love for if you see that, send me photos. Again, not, we don't want anything that's going to wreck anything, but if you're on a public highway or something and they're moving stuff, look at the paint. Is it gray urban camouflage? That's kind of an indicator of where they're going to use it. If it's orange or yellow, for sand, and they're going to be using it over in the middle.
These ones were.
They were what?
They were tan. They were like the sand beige.
Yeah.
color.
So, but we don't know what locations. There's different locations in the U.S. that could be used for, right? But most likely that's going over to Middle E, or they're just still painted from that. Or when you start seeing the dark greens and things, I think of trees and foresty areas, and then of course, depending on where we were, we painted differently. When we were in Vietnam, it was a lot of dark greens and things like that because they were in the forests. But Middle E, they painted it orange because it is harder. The farther away they are, you're talking about real human people. Camouflage does work. I mean, there's a reason why they do camouflage. It's at least harder to see than if it was painted to contrast the outside. When you start seeing these gray, dark black, those kind of camouflages, those are harder to see in satellite photos. They're also harder to see if it's farther away. They're also very hard to see at night, so blends in with everything else. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and appreciate your views, and again, don't be a stranger.
Yeah, man. It's good to talk to you guys again, and Foogle fans, stay safe out there, and thanks again for everything you guys do.
Hey, man, thank you for being loyal, and thanks for bringing up some great stuff tonight. All right, that was Tuck Pup, and I remember after the last time he called a few months ago, and people really, I get a lot of comments about his calls because he's always got something at least very insightful to say. And then this chart that I pulled up is, of course, the two directions, right? There used to be kind of a solid thing, but now if you believe even one of either side, it's like just tear each other apart. What people don't understand is, it might be fun to fit in. You fit in with everybody on the right or everybody on the left. What you guys don't realize is that you're both brainwashed if you're only this or only that. There are people on both sides that are just regular people. They're all getting brainwashed. One of the things that I just pulled up, it was this circle thing. It's like the right side believes in cyber war, and on the other side, the same place, it was the change, right? The world change. Both sides, they're going down these paths, and they directly influence. And I know I get influenced too. That's why I try to step back and look at what I'm looking at and see if it's true. And if I'm wrong, I want to make sure that I make that up and try to fix that. I know that it's impossible to say that you haven't been influenced by everybody, but media is a huge part of this. They used to say, like, oh, if they jumped off a bridge, would you? Most of the time, yes, because peer pressure is a big thing, and you think everybody believing this is an indicator that it's true, but all of the media is tearing people apart. It's making you hate your neighbor. It's making you think they're dumb. They don't deserve to breathe my air kind of thing. They have pushed it so hard, and even mainstream media, I can't believe I see on TV that they're like, these people are idiots and they're jagged dumb. There's a reason why people believe both sides. There's smart people on both sides. There's very talented people that pull people in. And it's just, there's so many varying kinds of people out there that some gravitate towards this. Depending on who they grew up with, they're going to go with that and they're going to stick with that. But now they've made it such a hard line that you don't dare cross it, because you're the people that you know will absolutely they will crucify you. I mean, it's insane. Dex, just insanity.
Yeah, great callers tonight. Yeah, I think he was referring to Bob. Bob was the one that was explaining all those markings and the fact that, keep in mind, he said they can paint those things immediately. So while they're on the go, on the run, they can switch colors.
Yeah, and they've done that. They did that in Vietnam, where they would change depending on how far they were going. They would change in 100 miles from where they started. They would be a different color. Okay, so Dex, do you want to talk about some of the stuff here that's going on?
Yeah, so lots going on the rest of the story. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to web-only content, that big yellow bar. And if you're on YouTube, just open the description. First link says show notes. Click on it, scroll down to web-only content, and get the rest of the story. Everything else we can't cover here tonight. Too hot for TV, too political, too far to one side, too opinionated. It's there. Certain things, some of the things, for example, is there's one of the leaders up there in Canada that was part of what's going on has been arrested, and many other people are too. That's going to continue to play out, especially over the weekend, as we heard with the first caller. There's a continuation of stuff with that. I don't want to say the name of the person that's doing the investigation here that is not being covered much by the media, but has a lot of ties to the former administration. So you can go read about what's being said on that, especially on both sides. Of course, Kimmel comes out and has his opinion, which you can go take a look at. It might offend you. And then, by the way, Rush Limbaugh's widow has made a statement on the anniversary of his passing. Plenty of other things going on, including shredding of documents and conversations on testing brains. And I'll let you figure out which brain they want to test. So go take a look, marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to web-only content, or on YouTube, just open that description and click on show notes.
Yeah, so it's no surprise that people are split on it. All right, well, praying for all of you to have a wonderful night. Again, thank you everybody that went over to PayPal and did super chats tonight. Again, thank you. Lori G, Claire L, Davis D, Tracy Q, Linda S, Dawn B, Bayberry's Antique Dolls, Lori S, Peter S, Julia Z, Deidre R, Julie W, Teresa K. Thank you, and thank you guys for your support for independent media. We appreciate you. May, Carrie M, Valerie T, and everyone else. So thank you guys. Smackin' Art Studio, by the way, thank you. Appreciate you. Kimberly S, and of course, Lisa K. Thanks for being here almost every night. Thanks for your support. We appreciate you. Gone Girl 777, hope you are good wherever you are. Love you. And Susan Donahue, everybody else, Veteran Steve, EOD Vet, all of you guys, thank you. You guys are rock, so thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Dex, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. And mods.
Much love. Yeah, great show, Adam. Much love.
Make sure to say something nice to one of your mods, whether it be on DLive or YouTube. We've got, of course, a lot of great ones down there. Thank you, Jason. I heard a lot of people went over to Jason 78's channel and went and said nice things. I hope you guys go over and check her out. Bones has a channel as well. A lot of our mods are aspiring to get bigger and bigger, as always. I mean, that's the goal, is to expand your reach here. So please help our Foogle fam members and the Ann Lynn show. They put a lot of work in their videos. More people need to at least check them out. Especially if you are in the grandma category, I would highly suggest going over there. Those ladies are just so wonderful. They are smart, they are beautiful, and they are both very, very dedicated. The Ann Lynn show, make sure to go check them out. By the way, Ann Lynn, if you guys end up watching this or watching the replay, if you want to do round 2 of stuff, and I know that you asked about my wife coming on your show, she's working up the courage to do it. So again, make sure to check back. Natalie D, thank you. Niall Adamson. Everybody, it is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
Happy, nappy, and it's the end of the world. I said I'm happy, nappy, and it's the end of the world. I said I'm happy, nappy, and it's the end of the world. I said I'm happy, nappy, and it's the end of the world. it's the end of the world. I said I'm happy, nappy, and it's the end of the world. I said, got my friends in the night. I said, turn around the region in the mist has been. I've had a uniform and a pile of mix of wigs. Got my friends on beyond the beyond the ground. Rode them back in town. Go back down and you know me now, y'all. Got a friend on me back and down. Got my friends up and down. Got my friends and I got my love. Bring it up back and it go me down. Bring it up down and hold me now. Who said back, who said paleo? Got my friends and I know. I say I love you, but you know. And we see that, now we go. Gotta bring that down the hole. Got the really bitty and a Leo XY. At least get 23, always right. Renegade medium to me here 2014. I got the Mary May XX Karen for Columbus. And a low pow. Nut, la pow. I got the Mercer one, thanks for the 10-1-month subscriptions gifted out. I'm blowing towards Bobby and a Venus out.